Most people spend their entire 40s assuming they missed the window. They look at their savings account, they look at their age, and they quietly accept a smaller retirement than they deserve. If you clicked on this video, you are probably somewhere in your 40s. Maybe you feel behind. Maybe you just had one of those moments where retirement suddenly felt real and close at the same time. This video is built entirely for you. By the end of it, you are going to know exactly which accounts to open, exactly how much to put in each one, exactly what to invest in, and exactly what the math looks like on the other side. No fluff, no vague advice, no just save more money. Let's get into it. Let's start with the number that nobody wants to say out loud. $1 million is not enough. I know. You've spent years hearing that $1 million is the retirement goal. It's been plastered on book covers, thrown around in conversations, used as the finish line for every retirement calculator you've ever touched. And I'm here to tell you that by the time you hit 65, $1 million will have the purchasing power of roughly $478,000 in today's money. Think about that for a second. You work 25 years, you sacrifice, you save, you hit the $1 million mark. And what you actually have in real terms is less than half of what you thought you had. That is what inflation does. That is the silent tax that nobody puts in the headline. So what's the real number? Based on current inflation projections and a reasonable lifestyle in retirement, the actual target is $2 million to $3 million. Here's why that number works. A $2.5 million portfolio using the 4% safe withdrawal rule, which is the most tested, most researched retirement withdrawal strategy in existence, generates about $100,000 per year. That's roughly $8,300 per month. For most people, that is not just comfortable, that is genuinely, meaningfully free. That is the benchmark we are building toward today. Now here is the good news that most 40-year-olds never actually sit down and compute. You have 25 years. 25 years of compounding, 25 years of market growth, 25 years of contributions stacking on top of each other. The math on that time frame is more powerful than most people realize, and by the end of this video, you are going to see exactly what consistent investing over that period actually produces. But first, I want to address the thing that is probably already in the back of your head. I don't have $3,000 a month to invest. That's okay. We're going to talk about exactly how much you need, how to find it, and more importantly, how to make the structure work even if you start smaller. The framework matters more than the starting amount. So let's build the framework. The 5 pillars. There are 5 vehicles that together build a millionaire retirement. Each one does a different job. Each one has a different tax treatment, a different level of flexibility, and a different role in your overall strategy. Ignore any one of them, and you leave money on the table. Use all 5 together, and they compound in ways that individually they simply cannot. Let's go through them one by one. Pillar 1, the 401k. This is the foundation. If you do nothing else after watching this video, do this. A 401k is a tax-deferred retirement account offered through your employer. You contribute pre-tax dollars, meaning you reduce your taxable income today and you pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. If you're in a high-income bracket right now, this tax deferral alone is worth thousands of dollars per year. But that's not even the most important part. The most important part is the employer match. If your employer matches your contributions, and most do, typically anywhere from 3% to 6% of your salary, that match is an instant 50% to 100% return on that money before a single dollar hits the market. There is no investment on earth that gives you a guaranteed 50 to 100% return the moment you make it. That match is free money. And if you are not capturing every dollar of it, you are leaving part of your salary on the table every single paycheck. The annual contribution limit in 2025 is $23,500. That works out to about $1,958 per month if you're maxing it out. Now, I understand not everyone can max their 401k immediately, and that's fine. But at minimum, contribute enough to capture the full employer match. That is the non-negotiable starting point. Now, let's talk about what you put inside your 401k. Most 401k plans give you a menu of fund options. You want low-cost index funds. Specifically, look for an S&P 500 index fund or a target date retirement fund matched to your retirement year. What you want to avoid is actively managed funds with expense ratios above 0.5%. Here's why. Over 20 years, a fund charging 1% annually in fees versus one charging 0.05% can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost compounding. The fee difference looks small. The compounding impact is enormous. Here's the math on the 401k alone over 25 years. Contributing $1,200 per month, not the maximum, just a solid starting point, at an 8% average annual return builds to approximately $1.1 million by age 65. Max it out at $1,958 per month, and that number climbs to roughly $1.85 million from this one account alone. One account, one vehicle, nearly $2 million. That is the power of tax-deferred compounding over time. Pillar 2, the Roth IRA. If the 401k is the foundation, the Roth IRA is the crown jewel. Here's what makes it special. With a traditional 401k, you defer taxes now and pay them later. With a Roth IRA, you pay taxes now on the money you contribute, and then every single dollar of growth, every dividend, every capital gain, every bit of compounding over 25 years, comes out completely tax-free in retirement. Think about what that means in practice. If you invest $7,000 this year into a Roth IRA and that $7,000 grows to $47,000 over 25 years, you pay zero tax on that $40,000 gain. Zero. The government taxed you on the $7,000 seed. Everything the seed grew into is yours. The annual contribution limit is $7,000 in 2025, which works out to about $583 per month. There are income limits. To contribute directly, you need to be earning under roughly $161,000 as a single filer or under $240,000 married. If you're above those thresholds, look into what's called a backdoor Roth IRA conversion. It's a completely legal strategy and worth a conversation with a tax professional. What should you invest in inside your Roth IRA? Because your growth is tax-free, you want your highest growth assets here. Growth ETFs, small cap funds, anything you expect to compound aggressively over the next 2 decades. The more it grows, the more tax-free money you end up with. Put your boring, stable investments elsewhere. Over 25 years, $583 per month at 8% return builds to roughly $520,000, all of it tax-free at withdrawal. Pillar 3, the taxable brokerage account. This is the account most people skip, and it's a mistake. A taxable brokerage account has no contribution limits, no income restrictions, and no age requirements for withdrawals. You can put in as much as you want and take it out whenever you need it without penalties. That flexibility makes it the bridge between your retirement accounts and your actual life. Here's the scenario where this matters. Let's say you retire at 60. Your 401k and Roth IRA technically let you withdraw without penalty at 59.5. But what if you want to retire at 57 or 55, or you just need access to capital before those accounts open up? The taxable brokerage is where that money lives. The recommended approach is to put $500 to $1,000 per month into low-cost index funds inside this account. The 3 most common choices are VOO, which tracks the S&P 500, VTI, which covers the entire US stock market, and QQQ, which tracks the NASDAQ and is more tech-heavy with higher growth potential and higher volatility. Pick one or two. Set up automatic contributions. Do not touch it. There's also a strategy called tax loss harvesting that you can use inside a brokerage account, essentially selling positions that are temporarily down to lock in a tax loss that offsets gains elsewhere. It sounds complicated, but most major brokerages like Fidelity and Vanguard have tools that can handle this almost automatically. The key with this account is automation and patience. Set it, forget it, and let compounding do its work. Pillar 4. Real estate. Real estate is the pillar that most people either over-romanticize or dismiss entirely. The reality is somewhere more practical and more powerful than either extreme. There are two ways to use real estate in your retirement strategy: active and passive. Active means owning physical rental property. Let's run real numbers here. You buy a single-family home in a mid-tier market at age 40. Purchase price, $250,000. You put 20% down, which is $50,000. Your mortgage at current rates runs about $1,100 per month. You rent the property for $1,700 to $2,000 per month. After mortgage, taxes, insurance, and a reserve for maintenance, your net cash flow is roughly $400 to $600 per month. Now fast forward to age 65. That mortgage is paid off. The property, appreciating at a conservative 3% annually, is now worth somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000, and the rent, which has also climbed over 25 years, is generating $1,800 or more per month, with zero mortgage payment coming out. Two properties like this at retirement means $1 million to $1.4 million in equity and $3,000 or more per month in passive income. That alone is a significant chunk of your entire retirement target, from two properties. Now, if active real estate isn't for you, you don't want tenants, you don't want maintenance calls, you don't want to manage anything, the passive route is REITs. Real estate investment trusts. These trade on the stock market exactly like regular stocks. VNQ is the Vanguard REIT ETF and has historically returned 9 to 10% annually. You put $300 to $500 per month into VNQ and you get real estate exposure, inflation hedging, and dividend income without ever touching a property. No tenants, no toilets, no 2 a.m. phone calls. The critical rule for active real estate is this: the property must be cash flow positive from day one. Do not buy a property banking on appreciation alone. Appreciation is a bonus. Cash flow is the strategy. Pillar 5. The stability layer. This one doesn't get talked about much in the exciting retirement content, but it might be the one that saves your entire plan. The stability layer has two components. First, an emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000 for most people. This account earns real money. Currently, high-yield savings accounts are paying around 4 to 5% APY at institutions like Marcus, Ally, or SoFi. This is not your investment portfolio. This is your financial shock absorber. When the car breaks down, when the medical bill lands, when the income dips, you pull from here, not from your investments. The moment you are forced to sell investments at a bad time is the moment compounding gets interrupted. Second, bonds. As you get closer to retirement, specifically from around age 55 onward, you want to gradually shift a portion of your portfolio into bonds. The BNDETF from Vanguard is a simple, low-cost way to do this. The reason is simple. A market crash at 45 is an opportunity to buy more. A market crash at 63 is a crisis if you're not protected. Gradually, moving 10 to 20% of your portfolio into bonds through your late 50s and early 60s is how you make sure a bad market year doesn't delay your retirement by 5 years. The target allocation as you approach retirement is 60% equities and 40% bonds and stable assets. This is the classic pre-retirement protective shift. The exact monthly numbers. Let's put all 5 pillars together with actual dollar amounts. 401k, $1,200 per month, $14,400 per year. This captures your employer match and builds the tax-deferred foundation. Roth IRA, $583 per month, $7,000 per year. This builds your tax-free retirement wealth. Taxable index funds, $500 per month, $6,000 per year. This is your flexible bridge account. REITs or real estate fund, $400 per month, $4,800 per year. This hedges against inflation and adds diversification. Emergency fund and bonds, $200 per month, $2,400 per year. This is your stability and protection layer. Total, approximately $2,883 per month, $34,600 per year. At an 8% average annual return, which is conservative relative to the S&P 500's historical average of about 10%, this monthly investment plan builds to approximately $2.7 million to $3.1 million by age 65. That is the millionaire retirement. Built systematically, built consistently, built with 5 vehicles working together. Now I understand $2,883 per month is a real number, and not everyone starts there. If you can only do $1,500 right now, start there. If you can only do $1,000, start there. The structure matters more than the starting amount. Build the habits, automate everything, and increase contributions as your income grows. Even starting at $1,500 per month at age 40, you're looking at a $1.5 million outcome by 65. That is life-changing money built from a manageable starting point. The compounding math. Why now is everything. I want to spend a moment on something that sounds like a cliché, but is actually the most important mathematical reality in this entire conversation. The single most powerful variable in your retirement outcome is not how much you earn. It's not which stocks you pick. It's not whether you find the perfect investment strategy. It is when you start. Here is the same $2,500 per month at 8% return, played out from 3 different starting ages. Start at 40 and you reach approximately $2.3 million at 65. Start at 45. And that exact same monthly amount builds to approximately $1.5 million at 65. Start at 50, and it builds to approximately $950,000 at 65. The same money, the same discipline, the same monthly contribution. 3 completely different outcomes. The only variable is 5 years and 10 years of time. Here is the number that I want to stay with you after this video ends. $1 invested at 40 becomes approximately $6.85 by age 65 at an 8% return. $1 invested at 55 becomes approximately $2.16 by the same date. The money you put in during your 40s does not just compound longer. It compounds on a larger base for longer. It does the heaviest lifting of your entire retirement portfolio. Every month you delay is not just a month of missed contributions, it is a month of compounding erased from every dollar you will ever invest going forward. This is why starting now, even imperfectly, even with less than you think you should have, beats waiting until you have the perfect amount to invest. Perfect is the enemy of wealthy. Stock market strategy. Your investment allocation should not look the same at 40 as it does at 60. Here is how to think about it across the 3 phases. From 40 to 50, this is your aggressive growth phase. You want 90% of your portfolio in equities and 10% in bonds. Your core holdings should be VOO or VTI, covering the broad US market at about 60% of your portfolio, QQQ or growth ETFs at about 20%, an international fund like VXUS at about 10%, and REITs at the remaining 10%. Reinvest every single dividend. Do not sell during market corrections. At this stage, a market drop is a sale, not a crisis. From 50 to 60, this is your growth with protection phase. You shift to roughly 75% equities and 25% bonds and stable assets. You keep compounding, but you start protecting against a catastrophic market event wiping out your portfolio in the final years before retirement. The 2008 financial crisis cut the S&P 500 nearly in half. Someone who was 100% equities in 2006 and planned to retire in 2010 experienced a real crisis. You do not want to be that person. From 60 to 65, this is your pre-retirement capital preservation phase. You move to 60% equities and 40% bonds and stable assets. You begin shifting toward dividend-paying blue-chip companies, businesses like Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, and Procter & Gamble, that generate consistent income regardless of market direction. You're not trying to get rich at this stage. You're protecting what you built. The transition between each phase should be gradual and automatic. Most target date funds inside a 401k do this for you. If you are managing your own portfolio, just review and rebalance once per year. The myths that are keeping you poor. There are 4 myths that I hear constantly, and every single one of them is costing people their retirement. Let's kill them one by one. Myth 1. The stock market is too risky at 40. This is completely backwards. At 40, you have a 25-year investment horizon. The S&P 500 has never, in its entire recorded history, produced a negative return over any rolling 20-year period. Not during the Great Depression, not during World War II, not during the 2008 financial crisis. Not once. The real risk at 40 is not being in the market. The real risk is inflation eating your savings, while it sits in a low-interest account doing nothing. Myth 2. I need a financial advisor to manage all of this. For the basic strategy we've laid out today, you do not need to pay someone a percentage of your portfolio every year. A simple 3-fund portfolio, a total US market fund, an international fund, and a bond fund, managed by you through a platform like Vanguard or Fidelity, outperforms approximately 85% of actively managed funds over a 20-year period. That is not an opinion. That is documented by SPIVA, the research arm of S&P Global that tracks fund performance data. You do not need to be a genius. You need to be consistent and cheap with your expense ratios. Myth 3. Social Security will cover my retirement. The average Social Security benefit in 2025 is approximately $1,900 per month. That covers basic living expenses in a low-cost area. It does not cover travel, healthcare costs in retirement, supporting family members, home repairs, or any version of a comfortable life. Treat Social Security as a bonus that supplements your portfolio income. Never treat it as a plan. Anyone who is planning on Social Security as their primary retirement income is planning to be poor. Myth 4. Real estate always goes up. Not always, and not always fast enough to matter for your retirement timeline. What matters in real estate is not appreciation. What matters is cash flow. A property that breaks even on cash flow and sits there hoping to appreciate is a speculative bet with a mortgage attached. A property that generates $500 per month positive cash flow from day one is a business. Buy businesses, not speculations. Your one-page action plan. Here is everything you need to do in order starting this month. Step 1. Open a Fidelity or Vanguard account if you do not already have one. Both are free, both have zero commission trades, and both offer access to the lowest cost index funds in the world. This takes about 15 minutes online. Step 2. Log into your employer's HR system today and increase your 401k contribution to at least the percentage that captures your full employer match. If your employer matches up to 4% of your salary, you contribute at minimum 4%. Do this today, not this weekend, not next pay cycle. Today. Step 3. Open a Roth IRA through Fidelity or Vanguard and set up a recurring monthly contribution of $583. If you can contribute a lump sum of $7,000 earlier in the year, even better, it gives your money more time to compound within that tax year. Step 4. Set up automatic monthly investments into VOO or VTI inside a taxable brokerage account. Even $200 or $300 per month here starts building your flexible bridge account. Automate it so it happens without you having to decide each month. Step 5. Build your emergency fund to $20,000 in a high-yield savings account. If you don't already have one, open an account at Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ali Bank, or SoFi, all of which currently offer around 4 to 4.5% APY. This fund protects your investments from ever being interrupted by a short-term emergency. Step 6. Research one rental property market in your area. Look at median home prices, average rental rates, and vacancy rates. You don't need to buy today. You need to understand the math of your local market so that when the opportunity comes, you can move with confidence. If active real estate genuinely isn't feasible, start contributing $300 to $400 per month into VNQ as your real estate exposure. That is the entire action plan. 6 steps. None of them require a finance degree. None of them require a financial advisor. None of them require anything other than a decision. The closing truth. Here is what I want to leave you with. The people who retire wealthy are almost never the people who earned the most. They are the people who built the right structure early enough for compounding to do the heavy lifting. They are the people who ignored the noise, stayed consistent, and let time work in their favor. Your 40s are not a consolation prize. They are not the decade where you accept a smaller retirement and hope for the best. They are, for most people, their highest earning years. They are the decade where income, clarity, and discipline converge in a way that simply wasn't possible at 25. You have 25 years. You have 5 powerful vehicles. You have the math completely on your side. The only question now is whether you do something about it today or whether you have this same conversation with yourself 5 years from now, looking at a number that is half of what it could have been. Start today. Start imperfect. Start small if you have to. But start. If this video gave you a clear picture of where to go and how to get there, do me a favor and share it with someone in their 40s who needs to hear this. And if you want to go deeper on any single piece of this, the Roth IRA strategy, the real estate numbers, the exact ETFs inside each account, let me know in the comments, and I'll build a dedicated video around it. I'll see you in the next one.